NFT. Joyage is going to take a back seat for this
one. First 5 seconds of the pod, I'm not even there.
Yeah. I gave us a quick intro, don't worry.
Hell yeah. Dude, literally my charger was unplugged and I looked at my computer. I was like, oh, we're on 2%. That ain't good. All right. Here we go.
We got robbed.
Oh, man, that would have been sad. Also, I don't know if you're on the computer. Are you able to move your screen? Are you able to move your head a little bit higher? There we go. Perfect. All right.
Like that?
Yeah, something like that. Just a little bit higher. Yeah.
Okay.
Fire.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Damn, bro. Hell yeah. Well, guys, welcome to the Joyage Kingdom. I'm Cage, your guide. Be replaced with the voice inside you for now, giving you a break from the constant internal monologue that is the human mind. I want to say first, thank you for listening or viewing on whatever platform you're on. We're going on TikTok. We're going on Twitch. There's some people in Twitter. There's like a whole variety of people. The only people that we're going to be able to interact with are on YouTube. So if you guys want to interact with us in the chat, jump over to the YouTube stream and jump into the chat. Crypto Dream is in the house. And if you're watching this on YouTube, click that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom. I'm joined, Jesus Christ. I'm joined today by Cameron, the NFT, fellow NFT content creator, fellow AI and tech content creator, which is something I want to talk about with you because that's something I've been thinking about making some content about because it's really interesting. And honestly, like sometimes I'll be looking at NFT content to make and it's just less than interesting. And I'm like, man, maybe I should just make like a tech video instead. Like this stuff's really interesting and they kind of blend together and they're going in the same direction anyway. Do you think making tech content sort of like dilutes your like your brand at all, or is it like do you think it's pretty good?
I mean, okay, so does it dilute my brand as an NFT brand? Yes, I think the answer is it has to, right? Like it has to at least a little bit. But the way I think about it, right, is in thought pockets and what people like. So if you're into NFTs, you're probably into crypto. If you're into crypto, you're probably into tech. If you're into tech, you're probably into AI, machine learning, like, you know, all the little niches of tech. Does it dilute your platform a bit? Yes, it does. But I do believe I've gotten people that are also interested in it. You know, I've had people message me. I saw I saw your dumb little tech review video, and then I started watching your NFT videos. Like, I'd love to know more. Then I send them my NFT explainer video or something, and you know, I enjoy onboarding people. I think that's something we all like to do, right? Is onboard people into the space in a positive way. And you know, if I can get like an extra 5-10 people from a big tech video into the space and get them excited about it, I think that's worth it. But you know, it's all perspective, I think.
Yeah. You're also a whoa. Just pause my screen. Hold on. Sorry. You're also not only a content creator, you also are a businessman because we've done a TikTok live. If you're in the TikTok fam right now, me and Cameron have gone live on TikTok. We went for like 2 hours in the first time. And at that point, I was like, fuck me, we should definitely do this on YouTube and just like captured it because on TikTok, you can save it. But it just looks kind of like shit. Like sometimes I tried to re-upload TikTok lives to YouTube and like the sizing thing's like a huge issue. But you're also an entrepreneur. You've like done business stuff. You've had your own crazy shit, honestly. Like, do you want to talk to me about that a little bit? Because I would love to have the document on the YouTube channel.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just do a little intro on myself. Yeah, so my name's Cameron, obviously, Cameron the NFT. My background originally was in the music industry. I started making dance music when I was like 15, 16. And we got some pretty swift success in that. We got picked up by there's this radio station called Triple J in Australia, which is, you know, arguably the biggest independent radio station in the world. And they pretty much run the festival scene out in Australia, you know, do a lot of things like that. So if you got their support, it's like jackpot, right? You're going to get on festivals, you're going to get shows. You know, we got our first song on Triple J. We got a headlining tour around Australia. You know, we started playing festivals. You know, from there, I got a US manager, went over to the US, started touring in the US. Same with Europe. So I was very fortunate to, you know, be able to live that life and live the DJ life. Meet a lot of amazing people, have a lot of really insane experiences, play massive shows. So that was awesome. But at the same time, you know, we kind of just fell into this social media industry with Facebook. Because we feel like, you know, the page is down now, but Bad Decisions was the name of my music duo, and we had quite a large Facebook page. We grew it from like 0 to like 100K, I think, in a couple months because we were creating viral content. Like it was music related viral content, but you know, it was viral content. We grew our Snapchat, etc. People saw this, influencers, and they were like, "Hey, you know." At first, it was like, "Can you teach me how to DJ? Can you just do
Yeah.
this?" But then it was like, "Hey, what about you do this? How about you make this content?" And then we just started managing people. And then we obtained a few pages, and then we started a share network, and then the share network got really powerful. And that led us to more influencers, and we started managing these massive influencers. Um, you know, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. We ended up expanding the business overseas. I moved out to Eastern Europe, to Serbia, in Belgrade, and we had about 30 people working for the company. That was such a weird experience, because I went from, you know, never managing anyone, never having any proper business experience. It was all very run and gun, guerrilla style, to like being in this office and I'm have to like pretend, oh, I'm a business person. Well, like,
Did you guys rent out like a warehouse or something, or a big office building?
So man, like we did way too much, if I'm being honest. We got this. It was in like an old, like Soviet looking factory, and we took the space and just made it amazing. Like we just completely revamped the space. We had like this massive office space. We had this massive room in the back where we built like a stage where we'd like practice performing. We had music studios in there. I mean, I've got pictures of all this and videos I can send to you later if you want to see them. But yeah, it was like a really big thing. And we were out there for about 2 years. The timeline's so messy in my head. But then, you know, COVID hit. And there was essentially this thing that we called in the Facebook space called the adpocalypse.
Heard of that.
Where essentially, yeah, so we basically, our revenue dropped 10x in the matter of like, you know, from 1 month to the next. It was just insane. And at this time also, we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if this was going to be like a zombie apocalypse or something. So, you know, we flew back to Australia, you know, planned it down for a bit. Then we were like, no, fuck this. We flew back like mid-pandemic. We got to keep the show running. But yeah, just it was working with Facebook was a terrible experience. I hate working with Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, man. Like you know, they just switch things off. You know, because literally, unless you're like, because we were working with Sky. I don't know if you've heard of Sky, like Sky Sports. They're a massive UK conglomerate.
Oh yeah.
And we were handling all their Facebook pages.
Goddamn.
And they were the only reason we survived that amount of time, because in that period of time they were just switching anyone who wasn't connected to a massive company off. Like if you didn't have connections like with the absolute higher ups, and keep in mind, we were pulling in like millions and millions of dollars for Facebook in revenue, but we were still the little guys. You know, we were still the little guys. And we weren't deserving of, you know, a contact, even though we were like literally probably in our network of people, you know, we're putting food on the table for like 50 plus people, you know, in that, even more when you consider the partnerships we had and like what we were building for other people, you know, in their companies, the revenue we were making for them. It's just insane. And we just weren't deserving of it to them. And so, yeah, it was just a massive, massive nightmare working with them. And I never want to work with them ever again.
Do you think it was because, like, do you think that's going to be a similar situation when you work with any big conglomerate, or is that just Facebook, do you think? Because this hits me a little bit, because like I'm in a similar position as far as like what I would be helping with. And I know a lot of people who do video content and just any content, I guess, for anyone else, that it's hard to get other people to see the value of media and media marketing. Like I know people understand it, but they like have a hard time paying for it sometimes, and like understanding why it costs so much, because they're like, well, it's not that much work, it's not that hard. I'm like, right, but like you get a lot out of it. You just like aren't putting that together in your head, and for some reason like you think it's okay to like ask for discounts and like not pay this much. And I'm like, I don't know, there's all these like weird nuances with it. What are your thoughts on that?
So are you talking about like us working with brands, like an us working
Yeah.
with like
and
people
like
who want,
and like big conglomerates, and like what your experience with that? Like, do you think Facebook was just because it was Facebook, or do you think it was just because it was a big company?
Okay, so you're talking on like a large scale. look, at the end of the day, we're just individuals, right? And companies like that don't care about the little guys. That's just the reality. Um, they care about multi-million-dollar deals. You know, billion-dollar companies. That's who they really care about, and that's who they're gonna allow. And it's literally been the downfall of Facebook. That's literally what has happened. And I know, they're picking up a little bit now. That they're getting a little bit better attention, but
The
from
reels.
yeah, but like from 2012 to like 2016, 17, the money was good. And like, look, people are still making bank on Facebook. I know that for sure. Um, and I'm sure you've seen people, like Julius Dean, like the magicians,
That
like
guy's
the
beast.
all the fake prank videos, like it just became this formula. Like, and bro, I'm not even joking. And I'm ashamed to say this, we basically started that, like formulating viral content to the T, in order to make things go viral. And people took what we were doing and just made it so much more unethical and terrible. Because yeah, it was just ridiculous.
Oh, that is so funny. It's
Like,
a funny way to put it.
yeah, man. Look, it's one of those moments where it's like, we weren't hurting anybody. We weren't, ripping anyone off. We were formulating things. We were making fake things 100%. And it just turned into this wave of fakeness. And I feel like that fakeness, once literally the whole of your newsfeed was basically fake,
Yeah.
like just these fake videos. Um, and Facebook just
Damn.
became this terrible, disgusting platform filled with just BS.
Yeah. Wow. That's a very that's an interesting way to kind of like say it. I never really thought about it like that. Like just like a whole feed of fake shit. And this brings up a topic that came up in my last podcast with myself, where I was kind of like going through it. I guess I don't even know exactly what was causing those thoughts, but I was wondering, like, because how you said other people took your formula and basically put it on steroids and attached the unethical dragon to it and went to the moon. My question for you is, because you've been in this position, which is a very unique perspective, do you think that without those unethical extra things that give them the boost and was kind of the catalyst to get to the top, do you think without that you could get to the top, or because someone always is going to use that, you'll never be able to get to the top without kind of tapping into that unethicalness?
Well, I think, Julius Dean is actually a great example of this, right? He was amazing. When he first came onto the platform, he was amazing. He was just this awesome magician that did awesome things, right? And he was already near the top. Like, he was
Mhm.
already up there. But at the end of the day, and look, I can't fault Julius. He's an incredible businessman, right? Like, he's
Yeah.
a great businessman. But, he started, formulating all these fake things. He had like this he has all these people working under him, like so many people working under him. He has like a cast of people that create videos with him. But look, Julius isn't even like an example of what I think is super unethical. When I'm talking about the super unethical things, I'm talking about people, for example, going into a majority African American neighborhood, planting an actor there who is African American, and purposely making them look bad just for the content.
Ah,
That's what I'm talking
okay.
about with unethical stuff. Like, and I'm sure you've seen those prank videos of like saying the N word in the hood, like stuff like that. 99% of the time, that's planted and
Yeah,
fake.
that's
Like,
true.
I don't know if you know Vitaly, the
Oh
Russian
yeah.
guy.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
Vitaly's
So
the
like,
OG.
yeah. So as much as like, look, he's got massive, huge balls. He also like faked a bunch of stuff as well, like
Yeah.
all those guys.
Because
So
it's what it takes.
yeah.
Like, I feel like it's like it's so crazy. You're like, there's no way this guy did this. And you're like, yeah, you're right. But as far as like not even just content creators, but like companies in general, like to get to the top, like this was like the weird thing that I was thinking about in the pod was like the only people who got like, could you have gotten to the absolute top without cheating? And I'm like, my question was like, do you think that the people that we looked up to growing up because we thought they got to the top without cheating, and then we find out like all of them cheated. Like all my favorite actors are like drunks, and they like have all gone to jail. They all like domestic abuse charge. You're like, oh wait, they're not actually perfect at all. Tom Brady, GOAT. He's so good at football. He's so perfect. This day he's going through divorce. And it's like, oh, like there's a whole lot of give and take here. And then I was wondering, it's like to get to the absolute top, which a lot of people want. They want to be the very best, but there's a lot of sacrifice that comes with that. There's a lot of people that kind of sold their soul to the devil, for a lack of a better term, to get to the top. And then it's like, if you didn't sell your soul to the devil, could you still have gotten to the very top? And that was what my dilemma was. Like, can I get to the very top without cheating, without tapping on ethical things, without signing shady deals, without doing, just a little bit of things that probably aren't that good, that if people found out, it probably wouldn't be so good,
Yeah, and look, that's a great point. Do I believe there's people out there that are wholeheartedly good and have, gotten to the top? I do believe that because at the end of the day, I believe in the human spirit. Maybe it's naive, maybe I'm just diluted, but I mean, personally, and look, I'm not at the top of my field by any sense. I'm not the richest guy, not the most successful guy,
Got the best hat.
but I. No, the second best hat. Look, Joyage, I can't compete with the Joyage brand. Go get the merch, guys.
Wait, have I sent you a hat or something? Have I sent you a hat or a shirt?
No, bro. Wait,
I got you.
Let me send you some money. I'll buy the hat. Okay.
Nah, you had 2 weeks to buy it. You had 2 weeks to buy it. You forgot. No problem. I'll send you a hat.
Hey. Yeah, like so. I feel that I try my best to be the most authentic, real person I can in every situation, whether it's DMs, a live stream, my TikTok content, in person. And I think people can sense that. I think people can sense authenticity. I think people can sense when people are being fake, and just BSing. Um, and I think it's easier to live, right? And see, it's all personal perspective, right? For me, one of my personal values is ease of living. How easy it is to exist inside this head of mine,
Me
right?
too.
It makes a massive difference. Yeah, it makes a massive difference to how you go about your day. And for me, I don't think I could live with myself if I had to like crush people and do terrible things. Because I know there's heaps of people out there like that, and like we're both docs, man. Like we're both 100% docs. So like if we're not putting our best foot forward and have pure intentions, we're gonna get found out and we're gonna get fucked over.
Good point.
That's it. So I always try to put my best foot forward. Treat people I want to be treated, but to go back to your original point, yeah, I do believe people can get to the top, to the very top. That's a good question. I don't know because there's the 1%, then there's the 1% of the 1%, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be happy to be in the 1%. But to be in that 1% of the 1%, look, I don't know what that takes. I've never been there.
But it looks like a lot of them have their own vices. Like if you watch like even shows where they kind of depict people who are very, very at the top of their game, there's not a whole lot of balance there. And it's just pretty much work, 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 work. They don't have a lot of time for things. So a lot of them end up having vices like whiskey or fucking weed or cigars or whatever. Do you have any vices for yourself? Do you have any?
Oh yeah. I have a super addictive personality.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so look, I went through like a massive weed smoking phase for sure. Like I still smoke weed occasionally, 100%.
Me too.
But it's I've got it way more controlled than I used to have it. Like it used to be like I would wake up, I would do some productive things, and then it's like, oh, it's like 1 p.m., 12 p.m. Time for a cone.
Yep.
Yeah, it did become a problem. And for me personally, it's like you will never know. Like I'm so good at masking it that people just never know that I would be high. I'm not saying that. Like, no, I'm not high right now.
Cameron is beyond just absolutely schmacked right now. So am I though.
Yeah, we all are. Welcome to the Joyage, highest place in the ecosystem. That's it. Yeah, so, but yeah, it did become a problem for me, and it just kind of became this a problem in my life. It became a problem. And when I realized it became a problem, I had to really step back and make some adjustments, and have some hard conversations with myself.
Mhm.
You know, you have to be lit to stay in NFTs. This
Bryce,
damn
that's
right,
a good
Bryce.
fucking point. Also, Bryce, I was thinking about this morning because your name popped up on my timeline, and I was like, a couple months ago, I had asked him if we had done a podcast, and I'm pretty sure he said no, and I couldn't remember if we'd done a podcast. I don't think we have. It's fucking disrespectful that we haven't done a podcast. So we're gonna get Bryce on the podcast soon, because I've actually had multiple people ask me to have him on because he's always involved in all my stuff. He's got his own brand going, so we'll get Bryce on the channel in the very near future.
Yeah, let's stop the disrespect.
Yeah, we got to stop the disrespect. It's too disrespectful.
Too disrespectful. But yeah, man. So I think it's just about recognizing it. I'm addicted to nicotine, just disgusting. Like I've never even been a smoker. Like I've never even I don't even smoke cigarettes. But it's just.
Oh, I got a question. Would you smoke that vape if it didn't have anything in it, but you were still like if it was just literally air, but it gave you the whole everything else? Is it the nick that gives you that kick, or is it the breathing in and out and the smoke?
Look, man, at this point, this deep, I don't even know anymore. I don't even know. It's like I don't know, man. Like it's it's terrible.
God.
It's really terrible. And look, like I come from a family of addicts, right?
All right.
Like my parents, great people. My dad, has an excellent job. But they're both addicted to pharmaceuticals, right? My uncle, he literally passed away like 55 from just a lifetime of heroin, speed, everything you could possibly imagine. And yeah, it's just something that runs in my family, I guess. And I'm very mindful of that because I've seen it, I've grown up with it. And I try to keep myself aware. I have really good people around me. Like my sister is an absolute rock for me. She's
nice.
The best. Some of my best friends, amazing people to keep me. Not that I necessarily need someone to keep me in check, but I just know if I start falling off, that they'll keep me in check.
Yeah, dude, I think that is important just to kind of have them there. It's kind of like with NFTs in a sense. I'm not comparing humans to NFTs, but like knowing I have the NFTs gives me some level of comfort. I don't know if comfort's the right word. It gives me some version of comfort. I'm just like happy to know it's in there. Like I'm happy to know in my leisure, my favorite NFTs are just sitting there. In the same way, like I'm happy to know there's certain people in my life that I could call. I typically probably wouldn't, honestly, but like they are there if I needed to. That stuff is important. And as far as vices, like myself too, I would say, probably weed is my vice. I just like the smoking. Like I'm still on the hunt to find some kind of thing that I think a lot of people started smoking cigars after Andrew Tate started popping off. At least I started noticing it. Everyone started smoking cigars and their content and stuff. I don't really care to smoke those things. Honestly, like Nick and cigars, like those, I always get sick after I smoke those. So I need to find some kind of other vice. But anyways.
We'll need to find another vice. About I don't know. You know what for me is probably the best alternate to a vice. It's just doing crazy shit. Like just like pushing myself, like, doing something extreme, like, snowboarding or like scuba diving or skateboarding or like
for me, it's more like when I need it is when I'm not doing those things and like it's like at the end of the day or something and you're kind of like sitting there and you're like that's I don't know, I feel like a lot of people at the end of the day they're kind of like, all right, now I'm just sitting here, like I kind of want to, I don't even know what it is, like I kind of want to feel something. It's funny, Bryce has been in here the entire time we've been talking. He came in when we started talking about vices, and the whole time we've been talking about like addictions and like all this stuff, and Bryce is like, oh, I guess this is what we're talking about today.
Yeah. No, it's just the moment.
Yeah, well, actually, I kind of want to shift it. Let's shift a little bit, and we'll probably come back to some of these things. But I kind of want to talk about NFTs, which is totally different than what we've been talking about. But the NFT space, actually, no, before we go into NFTs, your content. So for people who don't follow you on TikTok, they should. Is Cameron the NFT? Actually, I have it pulled up right here. I'm gonna share my screen here. So Cameron is one of, if not my favorite TikToker. He's got incredible content. Here it is. Hold on. Ooh, there we go. So this is his content. Now you switched it up recently. Now you got this new angle, right? And let me show the people what I'm used to. I love both.
Out of necessity, though. Yeah.
Look at this, dude. Look at this setup. Let me see if I can click it, if it'll pull up. Look at this fucking setup, dude. Clean setup and incredible high quality videos.
That's just one of my spam videos, like low effort videos.
And then here he is covering Do Kwon. So, all right, tell me first. Let me move back into the full screen here. Tell me first, what was the catalyst that made you switch the setup?
I'm living in Canada for like 3 to 4 months. That is the catalyst. I had literally no choice. So my my setup's obviously back in Australia, where I live. And I came out here to work with some of my team, and my co-founder is out in Vancouver.
Nice.
So it was really just like a situational thing, and I tried all these different variations. Like I bought an LED light, like from Walmart or something. I bought like the makeup light for a bit of warm light. What pulls me through is a good camera and a good lens. That's what pulls me through. Being able to just set up a random setup and make something work. But don't get me wrong, I tried like 5 or 6 different video and lighting setups before I actually worked it out in this new place.
Which camera are you using?
I'm using a Lumix GH5, but
what's the
that's
lens?
not the great. Like that's old.
You remember?
Dude, I don't even know the lens because like it's my mate. He like set it up for me. Oh look,
Okay.
the thing is, right? I'm great using this equipment, but in terms of assembling and getting this shit together, like I'm not that guy.
Tell me, so you moved to Canada for a little bit to work on some stuff with some people. Is this related to the company we were talking about earlier? Is that something you left behind? Is this an empty project? What are you working on?
Yeah, so everything in Web3 is not associated with the previous company at all. Like that is almost, it feels like a different life, if I'm being honest. It just feels
That's
like a
so crazy,
completely different period of my life. And it's like if you could block my life in 2 segments, that would be the defining moment. Me moving away from that. And
why did you do that? Why did you move? Like, there's lots of money there, right? Or were you just kind of tired of it?
Look, just to preface this, me and the person I used to work with, we are on good terms now. We've resolved a lot of things. But it ended really badly. We were friends for a decade. We were music partners, business partners. We spent the most time with each other out of any other people. You know what I mean? We were always together. And he's a wild guy. He's a lot more tame now, but he was just an absolute menace to society, wild. He's gone through a lot of things. I know why he was the person he was, and he had to learn and grow and experience a lot of things. But I think it was kind of like the candle wick was at the end. And it kind of just everything capitulated. We had a massive falling out. And I got screwed over a little bit. It is what it is. But we've talked about it since then, and we will never be best friends again. I will never have the same trust for him. I'll never trust him without a contract again. But that being said, we're civil. We're okay. We have friends, like we have mutual friends. So it's just one of those things you got to deal with. We can hang around each other, is what it is. So that was the catalyst for, why it, I ended up having to just leave Serbia. And it was, I was in a really bad position as well because I was actually, I was talking about the apocalypse and stuff. I was working for free by choice for like 6 months. Right, I was just living off my savings, and I was literally just like, you know what, like, I don't need money right now. Let's just focus on the company. When we're in a better position, fix me up. So that was where it all kind of stemmed from. I worked for 6 months, no pay, just working out of my savings, and then I got stitched up right at the end. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think you touched a little bit on that during our TikTok live. Because I feel like that was one of the things that I connected with you on, was that entrepreneurial journey of just eating absolute shit for a while. And people probably don't even know about this because I don't talk about this as much. But like for me, I made an online business out of leveraging my YouTube channel with the Brutally Honest reviews. And I didn't really think about it till like the last few months, but like that was like a full-fledged business because at one point I was pulling in an unbelievable amount of money. But that was at a period where I was also spending an unbelievable amount of money to keep up with the content. We didn't know the market was going to crash, so I thought it was fine. It's like, oh, look, the money keeps going. I keep spending. I keep growing. I guess this is how you grow. And I'd never experienced anything like that before. So I just kept going. And then when the market kind of calms down a little bit, I was like, okay, well, it's not making as much money, but this, like every single time I make a deal, I think about how many days that gives me to keep making content. So if I make a $1,000 deal, I'm like, okay, well, $1,000 pays for 1.2 months of rent. That's like 40 days of content, which is a fucking lot of days in the content, especially in Web3 world. So that's the way I looked at money. I was like, oh, that buys me this many days back. So I don't have to work. Like,
Yep.
this is how many days I have to find another deal. And along that timeline, I can also make 40 videos in that time, which helps me too. So I kind of use that for like the past year of my life. But in the last few months, it turned from a main hustle to something I should have said, oh, this is at this point how much money I'm pulling in. This should just be a side hustle. Like I shouldn't call this the main hustle because it's not bringing in the same level of money. I should get a second job and work twice a week at a bar, make $800 a week easy and not even do anything, meet people, talk to human beings and stuff like that. And I did that in the last couple, like a month ago, and it was like the best decision I've ever made. I'm like way more balanced now. I get out of the apartment, which is very fucking nice, like really way nicer than I thought it would ever be. Like I thought I would hate it, and as soon as I got out of the apartment and worked like 2 shifts, I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I knew new friends and all this stuff, and now I have the consistent income. I don't have to worry about the videos. It takes the pressure off me. And now it's like, oh, now I have 2 income sources. Now I'm like, I feel wealthy compared to the last like 6 months or so. But I ate shit, dude. Like there was a period where I'm like really, really struggling to make ends meet because I'm like, I need this deal to go in the next 48 hours or I'm absolutely beyond fucked because I have nothing. There's no like safety net for me. And that kind of stress that you're under for a long time, dude, that kind of like hurts you. It builds you up a little bit, but when you know other entrepreneurs who have gone through that, it really, really binds you together. So like, I have a lot of respect for you going in and just eating shit for 6 months because I'm like, I've been there and we both done that and it sucks. And then you got screwed at the end, which sucks even more.
So that's actually not even where mentally I thought I was eating shit, right? Because like I had been broke for so long while I was a musician, right? I was traveling the world on no money, right? So like having even like, having like 20, 30K in the bank was like, I'm living easy right now. I can live for 6 months. I could live for fucking a
Yeah.
year. Like, so it really, that wasn't the hard part. When it all fell apart, that is when mentally I started eating shit. And I remember I had this moment where this was like I was dabbling in Web3. I was just no, sorry, I was dabbling in NFTs. Obviously, I've been in crypto for a while, but I was like dabbling in. I was like starting to run low, and I was like, I'm gonna have to like go get a full-time job. Like I'm gonna have to do this because I need a car. Because I sold my car 2 years ago, 3 years ago because I was overseas. Right, I didn't need it. So it's like now I'm back in Australia. I need a car. I need an income. I need blah blah blah. Right, I need to live. And I went out and I made this beautiful video resume because I'm a video editor. Like it was awesome. Like great story around it, and I sent it out. Went to some job interviews. Killed the job interviews. Right. I was like, I'm gonna get this job easy. And I remember they like asked for a bunch of things, wanted me to come in again. And I was like, I go home and I literally had like a movie moment where I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, is this what you're about to do? You're about to put all your time, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, plus travel, so probably 10 hours a day, into this job where you're not going to progress, you're not going to do anything, you're going to come home tired. And 2 days later, I make like a $4,000 profit on an NFT.
Oh, fuck.
And it was my first NFT that I made a profit on. It was RumbleCons. If you
Oh,
remember that
no way.
one,
I do remember that project. Yeah. That
Yeah.
was a big deal. People loved that project.
Because I bought in before Steph Curry bought in, right? And then Steph Curry bought in, and I remember I put the sale up for like 0.95, just like no way it's gonna get that. There might be weeks, might be months. I wake up like 2 days later. I'm literally in a music session. I go check my MetaMask. What?
And then it changes everything. You're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't think of it. Like it changes your entire mindset when you have like when you get something that's a good little good email or something like that. You're like, oh, all that stress I was worried about, no problem. I just made 4K.
Yeah, yeah, and it was such a crazy moment for me, honestly, and I was just like, "Wow, okay, something's here." Like, I've just proved it to myself. Like, I was already so high on the communities and, like, seeing that and, um, seeing what the hype was all about. So it just, like, consolidated it for me and kinda, like, proved also even though, like, you shouldn't have to think like this, but I was like, "Oh, yeah, this proves to the people around me that, like, I'm onto something,"
Mhm.
right? Um, and yeah, I just went full steam from there.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I mean, that's how it is. Like, um, when I when I would close some of these deals and they would happen, it would totally change my mindset. But like how I was saying earlier, I would always look at it. I was like, okay, this deal buys me a whole month of time back, and I just didn't think about the fact that like like it's fine to do. Like for me, it was fine when I did that, but it always had this underlying level of stress that I felt like kept me on this very very fucking low vibration of just like I don't know what the word would be. It just kind of like puts you down. And I knew that like that just wasn't sustainable. And I also wanted to get out of the house too, but I didn't want to. I wanted to get paid to be social, basically. And I was like, this is impossible. How am I gonna get paid and also be social? Because work is work, and like very rarely do you get a job and like all the people there are cool and you like actually are social and like have fun there.
Yeah.
And then I just remembered like back in the day, I've worked the restaurant and I remember there's a period of time where I was working every day and I was literally rich because I was making so much money. And I was like, wait, I can literally just work at the restaurant like literally twice a week and pull in an entire full income. I don't have to give up 6 or 5 days of my week. How you were saying 40 hours a fucking like with me at the restaurant, I work from like at the end of the day, like literally like dinner time to like the end of the night. I'm already awake anyway at that time. And I just go in a couple times a week. I get to be social and have fun, move around, get some exercise, and I come home and I have a consistent income. And it really helps me from that angle, just as like a mental barrier there to continue going. And I think that it's just like it's just I don't know, it's just like another speed hump in the journey of like learning how to do all
Well,
these things. But
well, I think it's about needs, right? Like it's all about
mm,
what you need. And if you're getting like social, satisfaction from doing something like that and getting paid to do it, then that's amazing. Like, and
yeah,
me saying, like, oh, am I really going to do this? That isn't me like saying I never would have worked or never would have picked up a second job. I totally would have.
yeah,
I just got very fortunate. I had, my family isn't a wealthy family, but they were, putting a roof over my head during that period of time.
yeah,
And I was very fortunate for that. So I didn't have, rent to pay until I started paying rent when they didn't even ask me. I
hmm
was just like, you guys were supporting me. Here you go. And now I'm in a position to help my family out,
yeah,
which is just mind-boggling to me. And I'm so grateful. And people like you, who I met early on in the journey, and seeing us, kind of just hustle it out here and keep going is just inspiring. And it's so like honestly, the amount of times I've looked at your page, I've been like, yeah, Kate's posted like fucking 16 times today. I better get on my shit. you know,
That's fucking
make
life. Well,
one
one of the things
video.
I was struggling with, like part of the reason I liked this job, like almost having a job, which was weird because for so long I wanted to just be able to work at home and not have a job. And then when I did that, it was great. And then like I realized like I think a lot of people maybe it's almost hard to like identify and be like, oh, that's that. It was like the feeling of coming home and knowing I did something for someone that was actually helpful. And sometimes when you're
Yeah,
making content and it's not hitting, or we're in a market like this where people just aren't looking for the information, you're making content and it feels like it's just going down a black hole because like no one really is asking for it. There's no transactional value. No one's winning when you post the video. You're just getting a few likes, a couple engagements, a couple extra followers, maybe, and it wasn't like giving me any kind of satisfaction for a while. And I remember like the very first time I went to the restaurant, I came back and I was like, wow, I just like put in some work. They needed me to be there. Otherwise they would have been absolutely fucked. And I like feel good at the end of the day. And then like whenever I made a like a commission video, I felt good because I was like, oh, like it's not really just about me getting paid. It's the fact that like someone's definitely getting something out of it. It's like they were like, hey, there's something we need from you and you're the only person who can do it. So like here's some money, go make it happen. And then I give it to them and they're happy. And so like that feeling was like really, really addictive to me. And so that's why I think that's where the need for money comes from, because that's just the transactional value of what you get in exchange for it, and then you can use that to do whatever you want. I think I noticed early on, like the people who are winning are people who like literally just have a little bit of extra money so they can deploy it where they want, and they're not struggling. And honestly, like with TikTok, if you had extra money and you had a business or something, you literally could just deploy a few $100 or a couple $1,000s a month to hire out some short form editors, and you can pull an Aman Godzi going like, I would say basically irrelevant. I mean, he had a lot of subscribers on YouTube. He's a big time name, but he was basically irrelevant. And then he makes this new TikTok trend, and now he's very relevant. Like he's all over finance and self-help guru type content because he has money to deploy, and he just like hires some people to make short form videos of him. And that's when I realized like, oh shit, like this stuff is important. Like I need to worry about this. And then another thing was like the low vibration I talked about was like when you like shit, I don't know where I was going with that. I had a really good point there. With the low vibration stuff of fuck. This was Iman Godsi. God, that was so good. Where was I going with it? Iman Godsi started posting low vibration. Really, dude, that was such a. I had such a good point. Bro. I was really, really building up to that. God damn it.
I believe it. I believe it. Just imagine it, guys. Imagine a really solid point hitting home.
It's a simple point, bro. It's a very simple point too.
All resolving in a nice little package where we're all satisfied. Let's just pretend we have that feeling right now.
I think it'll probably come back to me in a couple of minutes here, because it's such an like an obvious point at the end of that. Like it should have just come naturally off my tongue. I don't even know where I was going with that, but with the low vibration. But fuck, I guess whatever. Fuck me. That's so frustrating. Anyways, so you made a good flip on the NFT. What did you do with that 4,000 NFT? Did you use that to like find it? Did you still go get that job? Like, what did you do after that?
Yeah, so pretty much I was like, okay, I want to do something in this space now. So, you know, I started working on Moonwalker FM. I basically put all my money into surviving and into, you know, getting the art created and getting all these things done and, you know, and slowly working my way into the space. Then I also made some more trades, and I made some more flips. I got, you know, obviously I missed, but I also had some good hits too. So, you know, I built up a bit of capital through that. And then, you know, it was literally just kind of like one of those moments where I was like, if I can keep surviving, I don't want to get a job right now, because I want to, you know, it was the bull market, you know, I was aware of that. I was aware that this was a good time, even though my knowledge was still lacking at that point, right? I'd only been in taking crypto seriously for like, you know, 7-8 months. You know, I was dabbling in crypto like 2 years prior to that. So, you know, I was aware, but I just wasn't awake to it. You know what I mean? And yeah, so, you know, I did that, and then ended up, you know, after I felt like I got a good amount of experience on like the founder side and on the investor side, I was like, yeah, I should start making content now. Like, I feel like I can speak on things. I feel like I have a basic understanding of things, where I know I'm a good communicator. I can make quality content. It just makes sense for me to start doing it. So then, you know, I started my TikTok, and for more than anything, right? Like, it was a social resume for me. I always say this to people, like TikTok for me was a social resume, and it worked amazingly. It worked. Oh, shout out Nono. He's a G. He's a G.
There he is.
Yeah, it worked incredibly. And like literally, I remember the first time there's this guy called Posty. I don't know if you've seen him on Twitter. His name's Posty, Postman Pat or something. I don't know. I forget his actual tag, but he was the person that did. He was my first ever interview. Like, he invited me onto his Twitch. We both had like no followers. And you know, then I started growing. He started getting more in the space. He invited me down to Melbourne for NFT Melbourne.
Nice.
And you know, I knew nobody there except for him. I go down. I'm standing in line, and this guy called Daniel, who's like, who's running the event, and he's like doing his TikTok's rolling up or something like that. Rolling up podcast, shout out. And he's like, hey, he pulled me aside. He's like, hey, you're Cameron. And I was like, you make TikToks? I was like, yes, I do. He's like, come in the video. And so he interviews me. You know, we get along like a house on fire. He's an absolute legend. I go inside. I'm at the bar. this guy called James Rowdy, who's another absolute legend. He pulls me aside. He's like, "You make TikToks?" I'm just like, "Yes, I do make TikToks." And I ended up getting recognized about 4 or 5 times at that event. And look,
Wow.
I'm no, and like I don't want this to come across as like you know, arrogant or something, but I'm not used to getting recognized in particular settings, because like if I'm in a club setting, a festival setting, you know, I played a lot of shows, so
Yeah.
especially during that time, people would recognize me. But getting recognized for content like this was a whole new experience. And in that moment, it completely solidified my conviction in making content, because I was just like, this is it. Like I literally just made 5 amazing connections.
Yeah.
Like many of those, so many of those people I'm still in contact with right now. And so I speak to them often, and you know, they're great people, builders doing amazing things in the space. So it just solidified it for me, and I was just like, this is what I need to do.
Yeah. And in this Web3 world, because of the small bubble we're in, like I follow random people who are just in the space just because I'm like, damn, bro, there's just not that many of us here, and like, why would you bother being here if you don't like? It just makes sense for us to be connected. And the cool thing about being a content creator, you're exactly right. A social resume is exactly it, and it helps you, you know, especially if you're going to local things, how you were saying, you can get recognized. Like when I was at NFT Seattle, I remember it was like surreal. I forget if I might have been high, so that might have been why it felt so surreal. But I was standing on the stairs watching one of the keynotes, or like watching something, and I was just like, there's like a staircase, and I was standing like halfway on, leaning against the wall, just watching. And I think I was documenting some stuff too, so I was probably getting some like overhead shots. And I had like 4 people in the span of like 10 minutes all recognize me and like just start trying to talk to me or something. And they're like, hey, like I watch your content here or there, or whatever it was. And I remember being like, wow, this is fucking crazy. Like, what the hell? What just happened? And also, not just that point, but just in general of meeting people in an emerging industry like this, it kind of opened my eyes to it, because I went to NFT NYC. That was crazy, but I was more just there because all my friends who had been talking to online were all going to be there, and it was like all DJs and stuff. But this is all builders at NFT Seattle. We're like months into this bear market. Like no one here is a DJ. Everyone here is building something or works with somebody. And I didn't really think about it that way until I got there. I was like, oh, I'm just a YouTuber. I'm just going to see what happens, making a video. But I missed some of the most random connections there. Like there was a lady, and we were on the balcony, and someone was giving a speech, and I just saw her at the corner of my eye. She was just standing there alone. Really nice dress. There was like a nice little red sundress or something. And I just like went over and like said hi or something, and didn't know who she was. Didn't really get that much information when we were talking. We were just kind of like saying hi, whatever. And after the conference, I connected with her, and I realized she's like, is the creative director at VaynerX or Vayner something, Vayner whatever, somewhere. And I was just like, what the hell? Like I still didn't even know that when I was meeting her. I talked to Frederick Douglass, the guy about the Pudgy Penguin, for 400 ETH for like 30 minutes before I realized who he was. And it was just the most weird thing ever. But like these local events, if you're watching this right now, if there's a local event in your area, you should go, because you really don't know who's going to be there and the things you could do, because it's crazy.
100%. It really is. It changed my perspective, because it was kind of like I felt the community on Discord. Like I understood that, but seeing it in real life is totally different. And having those conversations and making those in real life connections with people, you know, I'm sure that a lot of the people that I've connected with are going to be friends of mine for a long, long time, you know? So it felt really good. And you know, looking back now, it's been like, I don't even know how long it's been. A long time at this point. I can look back and say, you know, they're still my friends. I still speak to them, you know, weekly or daily. And it's just been nothing but positive experience. So go get out to your local event. Make the effort, because it will pay dividends.
Yeah, it pays huge dividends. Actually, this brings up a point. I forgot about this. So On-Chain Monkey is an NFT project that people love on the Ethereum blockchain. Their floor is like 0.6 ETH still. I hadn't really heard of them before. And a few of my friends had talked about them. And then just by chance, he was at NFT Seattle, connected with him. He lives here in Seattle, so we're going to actually talk to him soon. And he's like best friends with the guy who runs 9gag by Memeland, but like 9gag. And so I was like, yeah, I didn't even, I think I mentioned it in the video, and he watched the video. He goes, yo, you know, that's like my friend. And I was like, what? And he's like, hey, no problem. I'll talk to him. And I was like, what the hell? So like those kind of things, like the connection of the connection of the connection. And then here's the crazy part. I told you this off camera. For people watching, Crypto Dream, especially if you're watching this, I just got approved for monetization. Thank you. I know. I just got approved, but I didn't get approved on accident. It's not an accident that after 8 months, today was the day. The reason I got approved on YouTube is because I met a man outside of NFT Seattle on the sidewalk. I just happened to say hi to him because he was talking to someone I knew. And he says, somehow in the conversation, it got brought up that I've been waiting on YouTube for 8 months. And he goes, dude, I got you. I was like, funny. And he goes, no, like, I got you. It's like, what are you talking about? He goes, dude, my friend works at YouTube. One of my good friends. I'll just talk to him for you. And I remember I was like, what? He's like, yeah, no problem. Just send me some info. We'll connect after. And dude, I did within 24 hours. Yeah, so crazy fucking shit, dude. Crazy fucking shit. Like, what are the chances of that? Me running into someone on the sidewalk, and he is the guy who's going to give me this. And that's how I look at business opportunities too. Like, the way I look at it, and this is weird because Grant Cardone's the one who put this in my head, who, like, I really don't look at anyone, like, I don't really look at much for his advice because he just says so much crazy stuff. But, like, one of the things you said was really interesting. It kind of opened my eyes to entrepreneurship. I'd love to hear your opinion on this. Was you're not making money, you're not creating money. Nobody creates money. He goes, someone else has your money, and you got to figure out a way to get it. Like, you have my money, give it to me. How do I get you to give me my money in exchange for something? And when I thought about it that way, I was like, oh shit, like, someone else has everything I need. I just need to figure out a way to get it. It's already there. You know, it's already out there. All the money's circulating in the ecosystem, and it's yours. You just got to figure out a way to just snag it and say, like, what do I have that I can get to have it back? Just what your thoughts are on that kind of quote, and like how you view money and bring in entrepreneurial ventures and money and business plans and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's definitely one way to view it. I think there's many ways to view, obtaining money, and I think it's really just what works for you, right? So, like, whatever gets you out of bed, whatever gets you going, whatever works for you. I come at it from a bit of a different perspective, I think. I'm more just like, to be honest, like, I haven't really hustled the TikTok promos or like reviews, especially since I started making a wage from Web3. I've just more so focused on, okay, let's grow for the next bull run, because by the time we're in the next bull run, we could be making like 6-figure salaries just off reviews, right? Like, in the next bull, easily.
That's why I keep doing them, dude. Even though like no one's watching them, I'm still doing them. I still got to be that guy when the market comes back. I got to still be that guy who's like, oh, that's who you go to,
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, I'm just thinking about positioning myself for the next bull run. So for me personally, with like money right now, I'm looking at it from my company's perspective, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm thinking about like my company doing things. My company's got X amount of money from like the capital we've raised. We're deploying it here and here. Me and my business partner don't pay ourselves excessive amounts. It's a very, very reasonable, like, we are the lowest paid people in our company, right? And it's for good reason. It's because we both believe in what we're doing. We both believe that we want to build something great. And as long as we're surviving and being able to put our full attention towards it and just enjoy ourselves, and bro, I'm literally in Vancouver, different country, just building shit. Like, what more can I ask for, man? Like, what more can I ask for? Like, I'm just stoked to be able to live this life, and I know the money is going to come. That's the thing. I just, like, I know it. Now that I'm comfortable living day to day. I'm able to invest. I'm able to save. Now I'm just thinking, like, okay, how do we get to that level? How do we take it all the way up here? Obviously, you got to do things you got to build stuff, but also you got to do things on the side to keep funding certain things. And obviously those are things that me and my partner think about as well. And we're actively doing. Like, for example, I'm not going to name any names, but we're co-building with one of the ex-leaders of the biggest mobile games that have ever existed. And I'm super. Okay. So I'll tell you that off air. All right,
let's go.
But it's pretty crazy. We're about to do some awesome things.
Dude, so, that's fucking awesome. Congrats.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's I've been working officially on this company since the 1st of March.
This is Clash of Clans. You got him. You got him.
So anyways, uh, I've been working since March, so
Mafia.
it's been amazing. And I just feel blessed, man. And you know, money, if you keep doing the right things, you keep going in the right direction, it's gonna come, and it's gonna
Yeah.
come in truckloads.
Well, dude, that's like why that's why I like your content, because I don't know if you noticed this, but on NFT Twitter right now, people are very, very, very bored. These Twitter spaces are. I have nothing to say really about them. Like, I guess they're interesting, they're entertaining, whatever. But it's just like I can't believe like this is the level we're at right now. But I'm not still willing to dive into that because I still have a vision, and it's not really in line with my vision to make content that's just degenerate as fuck. That's just not my brand. It's not really. It's not going to help me in business. And I think about business in the same way with content creation, with like you do, or in a similar sense at least. Like I always thought about like how I can make a business out of the content. Me and Andres, like every week we'll get on a brainstorming call. We'll just like think out loud and have like a whole notepad of like, how is this gonna like, how could this potentially bring you money? How could this potentially line you up in a way where it sets you up in a business sense? And like a lot of my videos are set up that way. Like, okay, like, is there a possibility that there's like a business type of transaction that comes from someone watching this video? Like, who's my target audience? And me making degenerate content only targets degenerates. Degenerates don't have money. They are all broke, or they have $10,000 and they're spending all of it on JPEGs and stuff. So I'm like, they're not going to be the ones to have any opportunity for me. The target audience is someone with more money, probably more mature, and probably more like in a business setting. So we make content that like is in line with that. And that's probably why I see all your videos, because every time, because I think like that. And I think at some point in the future, I think at least like I would be some version of like an angel investor, and I want to be able to invest in like creators who I think are really dope. And I'm like, hey, are you full time? And if they're like, no, I'm like, okay, well, I want to be able to help, and maybe I can sponsor your channel or something. Like that's like one of the main reasons I want to have a lot of excess money so I can deploy it in places and like help people out. And if there's someone that I think is really helpful to the space, I'm like, yo, dude, I want to sponsor you. Joyage Kingdom, you're a Joyager now. And that's kind of like why like my Joyage Kingdom is set up that way, because I can always have I have like an umbrella of the Joyage Kingdom, and then just have like a fucking conglomerate empire or something like that. But you make a lot of content that's really, really in that. I don't get like degeneracy vibes from you, I guess.
Yeah, and look, it's just not who I am. I'm not the type of person that like I don't have an exaggerated personality. I'm not the type of person that starts fires. In fact, I'm very anti-conflict. You know what I mean? I like having thoughtful discussions, right? And you know, that's something actually amazing. I think, you know, because we were talking about how Australia Twitter has been on fire for the last week. And you know, we had that massive spaces the other day with like 750 people in it. And like the beauty of that is I feel like Australians are just less intense, you know?
You think so?
And like, because bro, you go in like a Shilling villain, look, and no hate to Shilling villain or whatever, or those guys, but they are very intense, and they're very argumentative, and they shit on people. And look, if someone deserves to be shit on, fair, right? If someone like, you know what CoffeeZilla does, incredible. The way he shits on people, respectfully.
You're right. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So I think that's the type of call out I like. That, you know, factual, you know, thought out, not just a fucking yelling contest and a dick swinging contest. And look, that being said, I get the entertainment value. I understand that. I get it's fun for particular people. I'm just not that person, and I can never pretend to be that person, you know?
Yep. Yeah, that's a really, really good way to put it. Yeah, you should do a podcast, dude. You explain things very well, or at least you articulate your thoughts very well, better than I can, at least, especially today. I don't even know what's going on with my brain. But yeah, you're right. Like that's the way I look at it too. And I think that's because like I make kind of similar, and I want to attract that type of person anyway. And I just the people I get along with the most, like the people who I've had with the most that are closest to like my actual version of what I would consider me, you know, versus like when I noticed this recently, like when I was at the restaurant is like the last job I had like 2 or 3 years ago, whenever I was working at the first restaurant, I definitely had an exaggerated version, but it all stemmed from me just like praying to God that they would like me and I could like make friends here. And I'm in a different position now where like I'm there to be social, but like I don't really care to hang out with them outside of work. My goal is to be there social at work so I can get paid during the same time and then come here and do all my shit. Like I don't really have a desire to do that. So I'm like, okay, my desire to be liked isn't as much there. So because of that, I'm not exaggerating. I'm just my normal me. but I'm still making friends, and people still like me because I'm not like mean or like awkward. Like I'm still normal. I'm just not like super loud, obnoxious, and coming in and like roasting people as soon as I walk in, like I used to. I just like had this very, very exaggerated version because you can tap into it like if you need to. Like I'm like, did you ever do that when you were working in the music industry? Like go to clubs and stuff? Because
Oh, okay. That's a completely different thing, if I'm being honest, man. Like the beauty of me entering the Web3 space is I had come of age, right? Like I'm 26, I'm about to be 27 at the end of the year. Look, I'm not the oldest guy, but I've got a lot of experience under my belt now. I have confidence in myself and my abilities. Obviously the doubt's always there. Don't get me wrong, like we talked about in DMs, you have moments as
yeah,
like, is this the real me? Is this who I am? But at the end of the day, I have complete conviction in myself. And I think by the time I entered this space, I found who the real, like, who I am. Like, I think, it's like who I think I am. I'm pretty sure that's me. When I was in the music industry, I could never be cool enough. You know, I could never be like, I always thought I had to be cooler. I had to wear the most expensive things. I had to, talk a particular way. I had to, act a particular way just so I could fit in with these DJs and musicians.
yeah.
And so it's two worlds apart. It's two
Yeah,
different.
yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Because I agree. Like that's a similar position. Like when I don't know at what point I started to think that I started to make a bit of progress, but there's a period of time where I literally felt like no matter what I did, no matter what revelation I had, I felt like I just would always be on a treadmill and it would just reset and I would still end up back at square one either way. Even if I did learn stuff, I'm like, yeah, but I still am like at the exact same point. Versus now, like when I learn something, I feel like I actually make a little bit, even if it's like 2 steps, I feel like I actually did move forward 2 steps. Even if I get pushed back, I'm like, no, I am further along than I was 3 weeks ago. Because 3 weeks ago, I was thinking about this stuff and I was struggling with this. And now I can do this. Like one example is like, and this is like sad, but like, I was like really struggling to like actually physically just get out of my bed because I can do everything from my phone. I wasn't being lazy, I guess, because like I'm still working on my phone, but like I literally could not get myself to stand up. And I'm like, what the fuck? It took like 2 hours for me to get out of bed versus now, like it takes like 30 minutes, which is still pretty sad, honestly. But at least I'm getting in 30 minutes versus 2 hours. And my ability to like close the laptop at like midnight versus just grinding until 4 a.m. has gotten a little bit easier. And I'm okay. Like a few months ago, like that was really, really, really hard. And I wasn't even at a position where I could even think about closing my laptop at 12. Like it just wouldn't have happened. I would have just continued working until 4 a.m. and then woken up at 2 p.m. And that kind of the idea of progress there. And then you're 27. So you've got a couple years on me right now. What do you think you've learned? This is very specific. What do you think you've learned from like 24 to 27? Anything specific come to mind, like in the last few years that you think are relevant to age?
Man, I think, you know what? I think your perspective does start to shift a little bit because, you're not on the younger side of 20, you're on the older side of 20.
Mm,
Like I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20. I think your mindset shifts about like, you know, immediacy because, the younger you are, the longer everything feels.
yeah,
Because,
good
like,
point.
one year, if you're 20, 1 year is a 20th of your life,
It's
like
true.
it's so. And like when I think about my, if you're 15, you've only experienced 5 years 3 times, right? I've experienced
Yeah.
5 years 5 times. So it's the amount I have learnt between 22 to 27 is insane. And you know what? Even 23 to what you said, 24 to 27, books is one thing that has changed my life 100%. I started reading a lot more. Even
Is
just
it the
audio
act of
books.
reading? Is it like the act and like the time that you're spending reading, or is it like the actual material you're getting from the book?
Um, you know what? Both. So I'll tell you why. I started with long form reading, right? Like full blown books. And it wasn't value for time. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not value for time. But it did get me thinking and it got me like at least feeling like I'm being productive with spare moments. Like, for example, when I'm just like walking somewhere, because, for example, like where I am right now, my business partner, he lives up this mountain. It's like a 6 minute car ride or an hour and 10 minute hike up this beautiful mountain. I
Oh, an
walk down.
actual mountain.
Yeah. And I hike down this trail like every time I'm up there. So I'll hit the gym, then I'll hike down the trail.
Mm,
And I'm just listening to audiobooks when I'm coming down because it's like the perfect moment to, right? But it got me thinking, and now it's almost just a habit. There's this really great app called Blinkist, Blinkist, I think. And essentially, it's just condensed audiobooks, like
mm,
15 to 20-minute audiobooks. They give you the clear points. And it is just that is actually changing my life with the content because it's even if like it's stuff that you know, because like you've probably heard these things before, you've probably heard it, but like they give you the why, they give you an example, and they tell you what it is. And if you want more depth, you go read the book. You go and listen
mm.
to the full book. If you want to be, you want the more consolidated, short format, bite-sized stuff that I can just listen to while I'm walking up the shops, while I'm making breakfast. It's super good. Like for example, I was just like listening to this random one. It was a completely random one. It was like this Chinese maid, and she made this book around, you know, why a tidy space is so important, and why and the philosophical reasons behind it, and the respect you're meant to give to your house. It's really respect for yourself and stuff like that. And it's just like
Yeah.
it's not life changing. It's not this crazy piece of information. But I was like, yeah, you know what, that makes complete sense. And this small little habit, it makes, even if it makes my life 0.2% better, my mind 2.2% clearer, that's worth it. It's all about
Yeah.
the tiny little percents every day, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I'm sure Andres would agree as well. Shout out Joyage. Shout out Andres, the king. Oh, by the way, Andres, bro, we recorded a podcast like 3 weeks ago. Where is it? Like you recorded like multiple podcasts with multiple people. Where are those? Did you post them somewhere? I don't know where they went. But yeah, that's a great point. And that's funny that you say you like walk up the mountain to get there because like I have like a similar story. Like when I go to the gym is probably like a point 0.8, like almost a mile away, basically. But there's like a metaphorical mountain, and it's the fact that Washington State is just very hilly. So there's like literally like a
Right.
straight up incline on one of the parts of it. And like every single day, I have to like go and walk up that incline. And it's like I never want to do it. Every single day, I have to do it to get to the gym, though. And I could take one of those scooters, in the city, like the little electric scooter things. I always
Yeah.
could take it, but for some reason, I always like it's like almost like a mental. I don't even know what it is. It's like the journey to get there, or something like that. And walking and kind of that time to yourself where you're like, sometimes I'll decide to go and not have music or not have anything playing over it. Like a lot of times I listen to podcasts and stuff. Sometimes it's good to just kind of ponder it when you're walking. But it's very interesting. Like I really wonder what life would have been without social media at all. And it's not like I didn't grow up with that. Like my first like 16 years was basically without social media. I think I got Instagram when I was like 16 or something like that. So prior to that, all the information you got was from other people. Like I remember at the gym, the very first time I started getting to the gym, there was no social media at that point, or at least I wasn't on it. So I basically just listened to whoever was biggest and whoever would talk to me. So I just asked like my friend's uncle or
Yeah.
whatever. Like he went to the gym sometimes. This other guy who obviously now I realize he was just totally, just like blasting testosterone. But I was like, how the fuck do you get a back that big? He's like, oh, it's these tips and this and that. Like you always have to do it this way. And for like
It's
years,
his
I followed that
optimal
advice because I
form.
didn't know any better. Yeah. But it's crazy with social media, dude. Like it's wild. So here's the point I'm trying to get to. There's a concept that someone was talking about in a podcast, and they were like, the older generation gets mad at us because they think we're lazy, yet and actually it was Alex Ramosi. He goes, the purpose of everyone putting out content is to theoretically make your life easier, like your audience, to make their life easier because you have a tip that you want to share with them. So like, why are the people who are sharing those tips with us, who's the older generation, why are they getting upset that we're using that information and shortcutting our way? Because that information is used as a shortcut. Now, because I know this information, I don't have to go through the 3 years of like toil to figure out the lesson because you just told me the lesson. And then the older generation gets mad at the younger generation because we're lazy and we're doing all these things, and like we're probably gonna go through the same thing. So like, are you nervous about that? Are you nervous about turning into like a grandpa? I mean, I remember already feeling like that when there's a new app. I'm like, I want to learn a new app. Like that was with TikTok. It was that for me.
Yeah, okay, yes. Part of me is like for example, Be Real. I just don't want to be on that, if I'm being honest. Like that's just not for me. And I'm just like thinking like, okay, the only way I'm going to be able to grow an audience on that if I was just I'm at my computer too much doing just fucking boring shit, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't have the ability for that. But you know, I think look, this might be completely naive, but I think that you know, it truly is spirit, right? You know, there's people with old spirits that are fucking 17 years old and they're like grandpas, and there's people that are 70 and just have this youthful spirit about them.
Mm,
I think music is a big thing for me that keeps me in touch with the younger generation because I am extremely you know, addicted to finding new music and enjoying new music, and my I'm very in touch with like what people are listening to right now in the underground scene, like in you know within hip hop, within dance music. You know, those things excite me. So that's how I look at Diplo as a great example, right? That man's like 50 something, right? And he still feels like a 20-year-old. He still makes music. He finds talent, that
mhm.
upcoming talent. And I think that's because, you know, he keeps in touch. Um, so, and now in this time, we have no excuse if we want to keep
Yeah.
in touch with things, you know?
Good point. What do you think about music NFTs? Snoop is another person example of that. I think that this is interesting. He just keeps redefining himself. It looks like he's always going on these ventures, and people are always praising him. But I can't figure out if he's just doing it because he's just a greedy bastard and just wants more money and attention, or if he's just like trying to change the world. Like, what do you think about music NFTs and like Snoop and those people?
Look, I think it definitely depends on the person we're talking about. I have a middle of the road view on Snoop. I don't think he's necessarily a bad guy, but I don't think he has like the purest of intentions. You know, if there wasn't a bag in it for him, he wouldn't be here. But that being
Mm,
said, I don't think he's been a negative. You know, he hasn't been a negative in the space. There's so many that have been, like you know, Lil Pump, Chris Brown, like
mm,
you know, all these people coming in with like you know, I was looking at some of these deals and I was just thinking like this song has to get like 25 million plays for the person to break even. Like
yeah.
it's just not going to happen. I don't think we have the right formula yet. I don't think there's a formula out there that works yet. I don't think there's on a mass scale. I know there's some great companies doing some really cool things. I'm gonna what is it? Another block, excellent company. Navak, another one. Hume doing cool things. So I definitely keep my ear to the ground with that stuff because I find it, you know, it's one of my passions, right? So I
Yeah.
always try to keep in touch with that. But I don't think there is a working model out there that can be scaled yet, and that's the real problem. There's no scalable model yet.
Yeah. And I think Gary Vee's approach was to open as many doors and leave them open for people to go down into. And I think that for that reason it was good. But like when he was talking about, you know, if royalties and stuff for your artists and it or sorry, for your supporters, and it incentivizes your supporters to blow up your song because they get paid when in reality they're making fractions of a penny, you know, per thing. It's like basically no money. Even the artists like aren't even making a lot of money these days, and they're like, well, it's like all decentralized. You have your own ownership, and it's like, yeah, but like that was why people made agencies so that you could just shortcut that and like get views and get
Yeah,
up the chain faster. And so like the whole concept of decentralization going back as far as like the banking system, it's like, oh, like you have control of your banking, but that's why banks exist, is so that you don't have to control that all that stuff. And there's a lot of people who don't want to decide all those things. And you know, if you send your money to the wrong place just by accident, now your net worth is gone in a fraction of a second.
yeah,
And it's like, oh my God. Then movies, she was like, you know, you can start a fundraiser and make a movie. I'm like, motherfucker, it takes like $100 million to do a movie. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on Gary Vee's approach to NFTs and usability in the real world.
Look, I think Gary is amazing. I love Gary. He's just, you know, I've been watching him for, you know, half a decade at this point, at least, I think. Like, I've been watching him for a long time at this point. Back where I've seen his arcs, like his grinding arc into
Yeah.
his pro family and life arc to his happiness arc. You know, I've seen it all. And what I do believe about Gary is he does have good intentions. That's what I do believe about him. He puts in too much work that he doesn't have to do. Um, that
It's a
I
good
think
point.
provides a lot of value. You know, he doesn't have to be making these garage sale videos. You know what I mean? That's not something he has to do. He doesn't need to be like meeting with you know every single person that lines up to see him. Um, Look, he's expensive. I've heard some numbers thrown around about how much he is per hour. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
But you know, he's earned that position. And you know what? I think he's brought a quality project to the space. He's brought a quality event to the space, like arguably the best one from what I've heard. I haven't been, but I've heard nothing but great things about it. And you know, he's not. Um, I don't think he's causing harm. I don't think he's causing harm. I think he's brought a lot of people into the space.
Yeah.
So what I think of Gary, I think he's an A plus guy. And I would love to get the chance to be in a room with him at some point. I know everyone just kind of like, you know, oh Gary V, like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. I think um, I think he's onboarded probably more people than all of us put together. So
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. So I mean, there are lots of hate who goes this direction because like that's not quite accurate. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that's his goal. I think his goal really is just like get people to understand some basic level of it, and then to figure out the rest out on their own. Because what I kind of didn't think about was like he also runs a company, which is like his main job. Like he's like CEO of VaynerMedia and all these other things. And like the content side helps his brand, which helps bring new clients and like helps build up who he is. And like that's no doubt that's why he does the garage sale, partially because he likes it, partially because he wants to do it, partially because he knows it helps his brand. And just everybody wins. Like nobody loses doing that kind of content.
yeah,
I think that's why he loves to do it. And you're right. Like I think it does come from that like a good place, and he just happens to be in just a shark when it comes to business. And I think for me, like I always
relentless.
thought there had to be like a separation. And I don't think you have to. I think you can also be a shark and also just like be a good person and not take that deal, even though it's like a lot more money because you know it's gonna be net negative in the end for you. So I think that there's positive and negatives from Gary Vee. But as far as getting people in, I mean, mission accomplished. A lot of people know what NFT. At least they've heard of an NFT, and you know that's whatever. And like the concept of like of Meta and Instagram kind of what's the word? Not interlocking, but they introduced NFTs onto their platform, and people are like, "That's stupid! Like, no one's going to use this." Like, yeah, but the point is just so that people see the word of NFTs, like you can connect your wallet, so it's just a little bit easier. Like, Snapchat filters now, people aren't freaking out every time a crazy one comes out. They're like, "Oh, it's just a new filter." And I'm like, well, a year ago, you would have freaked out over that filter, and like that's the concept of NFTs. Like, it just gets a little bit easier. And I know we're like in the cult, and people wanted to just take you to the moon. Like, if you just trade NFTs, then you will be on the next train to the moon. I don't think that's true. I think you do have to be putting in some extra work. I know people in the space say we're going to make it. If you're here early, if you're here now, you're going to win. That's definitely not true. Like just because you're here participating in Twitter space does not mean you're going to make it. You're going to be in the exact same place you were, you know, in 5 years if you don't do anything. Like you got to figure out a way to get on teams. That's why I'm so big on content. I just think content creation is the easiest way. You can learn a little bit about something and just start documenting that process. Like Katie, Brooklyn NFTs is a perfect example of this. She literally started making some NFTs, learning some stuff about NFTs, and started documenting that journey. Now she's a full-time core member at Ledger. Like she's literally head of brands and partnerships at Ledger. I'm like, bro, a year ago she had 300 followers on TikTok, and I found her and I was like, yeah, I don't know what she's gonna do, but it's gonna be successful. And fast forward a year, and she's crushing it now. And I think content's the easiest way. What do you think the best way is for Web3? And like, what would your advice be, I guess, for people who want to get involved?
Oh, I mean, look, if you want opportunities, make content, right? Because you are not gonna the amount of opportunities that I have garnered through just people being aware of who I am, it never would have happened. I wouldn't be in the position where I'm a part of this company right now, if I didn't, you know, just jump into things and try. And, you know, you don't win all the time. You will
Yeah,
take losses. You will fail. And that's literally, you know, failing isn't great. It sucks, but it's probably gonna happen, right?
yeah,
So yeah, I think content is the number one thing. Whether it's on Twitter, you know, through Twitter, it's like you can't just start writing threads. That's a mistake I made, to be honest. Like I was like, oh, if I just write threads, interesting threads, people are just gonna come. But no, that's not how it works. You need to get a following first through just either shit posting, being on Twitter Spaces, being in people's comment sections. Then you start writing threads. Then, you know, if a big accounts are following you, it's like a stamp, etc. There's a lot of things. I was reading an article yesterday, and anyways, but with TikTok, right? You just can start posting. Just start posting. Do it right now. Post.
yeah. I agree because it's
Okay.
the organic reach. If Twitter space with Twitter, I mean, I think you can do both. Like, I think for practice purposes, it's probably okay to just write threads like whenever to get better at them. But you're right. There's not as much organic reach on Twitter. If you have 0 followers, chances are you're probably going to get 0 engagement because no one's following you. They're not going to see your tweet. TikTok, you can put a video out and people will see it. I mean, sometimes TikTok fucks you and they'll send it to like 3 people. And then maybe your video is really just that bad or there's just nobody caring about the topic. But you have a way better chance as far as content. So tell me about your day in the life of this company. This is the NFT project, right?
So this essentially what we're doing is building the in between. That's kind of how we phrase it. We're building the in between buying and selling your NFT. Actually creating use case, fun, enjoyment, excitement, creative protocols, platforms. Our first experiment that we're dropping, we are there's some alpha. We're dropping a trailer for our free mint 0 royalty NFT set this Friday. It's pretty sick, if I'm being honest. I edited it myself, gassed myself up. But no, I'm super excited for this. And that's a catalyst to what we're doing over at Fruipyland, right? What we're doing there, it's a conversation starter around IP, royalties, rights, derivatives. How do we propagate creation, content creation, activities with our NFTs? All NFTs between buying and selling, because we have this massive gaping hole where, there's some obviously some great NFTs out there with some great middle time fun things to do. I 100% yes, but 99.5% of projects do not.
Yeah.
Right? They just don't. And they either rely on their community, their pool, their partnerships, all of these other things. So this first experiment is a license and consent platform. And essentially, it's the base layer for us to create creative protocols on top of. So what you could basically do right now is stake your NFT, create derivatives, and you can license them out in any way you see fit. So that's kind of the base layer for that.
Wait, hold on. Wait, say that last part again.
You can stake your NFT, create licenses for your NFT.
Okay. Got it.
And in derivative format and however you wish to create them and use them however you want. So for a super basic example of what this would be a massive, let's say a massive Twitter influencer has a Bored Ape and he wants to create a derivative set of his own apes and sell them to his community as part of his small community. And as soon as to get the unstake the ape, he has to buy back the collection so everyone's safe, everyone knows what they're getting into. But that's a super basic version of what this is. We're co-building, like I said, with a bunch of really amazing projects that are helping us create creative, fun, interesting things to do with this base layer. But to answer your question on what I do on a daily basis, I make calls, I speak to people, I'm creative. I'm mostly marketing, content, creative thinking, brand vision, narrative stories. Those are the things that I'm thinking about on a daily basis. And obviously, I'm more the creative direction, marketing guy. Frank, my partner, he's more business development, investment. He's incredible at that. But, as a founder, you wear many hats, so I kind of do a bit of everything. But right now I'm completely on the grind. I've never been more on the grind in my life, in my opinion. Saturday and Sunday, they were just work days.
Yeah, that's how it is, dude. Yeah, there's the other day I was walking, and I was there's a lot of people out there. I was oh, I forgot it's the weekend. Then I was oh wait, I forgot. It doesn't matter. I'm in this world where this literally doesn't matter. And there's no difference. I just it's the same day. And honestly, I have to check myself sometimes when I'm setting up schedules because I'm oh, other people do not live in this Web3 world where they do have a weekend. And I'm oh wait, you can't work on the weekend. I forgot about that. Or it's Friday night, oh, you're at the club. So I forgot about that.
Yeah. I literally last night, for example, I had a 1 a.m. call and then an 8 a.m. call.
Jesus.
It's and normally, in the past I'd be fuck no, but it's just one of those things where it's yeah, I'll work around it. I'll just go to sleep a bit earlier, wake up, take the call, go to sleep again.
Exactly.
That being said, I just want to make this super clear to people listening. take some time off, when you have to. Like I know we're talking about being on the grind, being hustling. Like, yes, you need to do the work. The work has to be done, but you burn out, and that's just the reality. You burn out is a real thing. I've experienced it many times, and sometimes you just got to take that, even if it's a half day. Just take that half day, turn off the internet, like get off all the fucking socials. It's good to reset sometimes. So you're a legend.
Yeah, see it. No, thanks for being here, bro. Yeah, I agree. I have a really, really hard time taking breaks unless it's like forced on me. Like if there's, for example, if I have a family thing coming up and it's 4 months away, I'm like, all right, there's my break. Like, that's how I think. I'm like, okay, in 4 months, I'll take a little week break or whatever. Or like, so if like, for example, like Sunday is the only day where if I'm going to let myself make an excuse to go and waste half a day, it's going to be on a Sunday. I don't know what it is. I think it's the fact that I don't work a normal job where Monday is the worst day of the week. So I almost, it's almost like despite the fact that in school, I always despise Sunday because I'm like, oh, great. Now it's all I can do on Sunday is prepare for Monday and think about Monday. And now I don't have to think about that. So like, I really try if I'm going to fit something fun, it's just going to be on a Sunday, or I'll just like go and do something I wouldn't normally do. Like this is a good reset for me. This might help some like content creators who have struggled to get out of like the content mindset. Is I'll just be like, okay, like today I'm going to go buy like a fucking breakfast burrito or whatever, like that I normally would never buy. Like I have like the same regimented meal that I eat every single day. I just go to Chipotle every single day at like 5 or 6 o'clock and I eat my Chipotle. And that's basically the only thing I eat all day. So I'll switch it up and I'll just like have a different few hours on a random morning just to see what happens. And that stuff will reset you. I don't know how it does, but it's just like the fact that you're doing something a little bit different than your typical routine, it'll like throw you off in a good way. And I don't know, that's helped me. Other than that, like it's really tough for me to take like a full day. If I think about taking a full day, that I don't know about that. Like, even though it's literally not going to do anything, I just like I think about all the things I have to do every day, and I'm like, dude, for me to miss a whole day, I got to do double the next day, and I'm like, that's not even worth it. I'm like, I'd rather not take the day off, and that's a tough place to be in. But I mean, if you're gonna be making content and you're gonna be doing stuff for the next 25 years, it doesn't even matter. Like miss one day, it doesn't matter. And plus, like if you were forced to miss a day, like your mom is in the hospital and you have to miss a day, you would figure out a way around it. So you can. It's just like you just decide if you're going to. But anyways, so I want to do some. I don't know what your time constraints are right now, but
I probably got. I got like a little bit amount of time left.
Cool. Let's do a couple like short rapid fire Q&A stuff.
Cool.
All right, here we go. First relationship.
What do you want me to answer? Like her name? Like
how old were you when you had your first relationship? Was it good? Was it fun? Terrible?
Yeah, it was extremely painfully awkward and just I was like 13. It was terrible.
That's hilarious. Was it an online girlfriend or was it a real person?
No, we took the bus home together because I went to an all-boys school and the all-girls school was right next to it. It was terrible.
Fucking hell. Love it. All right, favorite food chain?
Oh, shit. Okay. There's this one in Australia that you just probably wouldn't know. It's called Zambreros. And it's like a way better Chipotle. It's just like an infinitely better Chipotle.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, how about America? An American or non-Aussie one?
Okay, America. I love. Okay, look, I had a Papa John's pizza the other day. Well done, and I was like extremely surprised at how good it was. Like,
Papa John's is
well
good.
Done. It has to be well done. But like,
absolutely,
I was so shocked at how good it was. But I also enjoy Panda Express. That's a good one.
Panda Express is good. How about Chick-fil-A? You like Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, Chick-fil-A is great. It's just not an every week type of thing. Otherwise,
True.
Get pretty crazy. But yeah, look, delicious.
All right, what were you like in high school?
Okay, pre-16, so like year 7 to year 9, insanely awkward and just nerdy and like I was quiet, but I just got bullied severely. And then after I moved schools, everything opened up for me. I was still a bit awkward, but I was a lot more, just relaxed and enjoying myself. And, I was a lot better, less awkward.
Yeah, I was definitely a fucking loser in high school until I switched schools. Same story with you. I was like, this is my time. I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to pretend to be more confident than I am, because I definitely am, because people don't know who I am. They don't know I'm a loser. So that was actually a big defining moment when I changed schools. Like that was a huge life change for me.
Huge.
I'm glad I did it too, because if I didn't, I would probably have stayed very low confidence. I probably wouldn't have gotten out of that phase, to be honest. Like I just didn't have any confidence. 100%. So I'm very glad I did that. Okay. Wait, where'd it go? Do you have any guilty pleasures?
Anime.
Really? Okay. Which one?
So many.
Do you have one that comes to mind that you love? Or what are you watching right now? Do you got one you're watching?
I just finished one up. It was, the Dota series. It's like the Dota Netflix series. That was actually amazing. I was so surprised at how good that was.
I haven't gotten into anime. All my friends do. That's why I'm asking, because I'm sure they'll all know it.
Oh yeah, and look, shout out Castlevania, shout out ReZero. If you don't know.
I guess I gotta know. Everyone's been trying to get me in. I will get there at some point. It's not that point in my life yet. All right. Do you have a favorite alcohol?
I guess bourbon and Coke, like whiskey and Coke. I guess I'm pretty basic.
True. All right. A couple last questions here and we'll get you out. Do you have any reoccurring dreams?
I dream very sparingly. I don't dream often at all, to be honest. True. So I couldn't tell you.
Me neither, honestly. I think I when I was a kid, I used to have the one of like running in slow motion to save someone who's gonna die. It was usually my dad getting bit by a snake, and like the guy, the snake's mouth is like this, about to like bite him, and I'm just like, no, like running through scrub.
I literally have this one of me running through a jungle, and like it's like Predator, like from the movie, is like chasing me, and I'm running, and I turn back, and as I turn back, there's a cliff, and I'm falling, and then I wake up.
Fuck. Yeah, I've had some fucked dreams and nightmares. I've had one where I was convinced I died. Like in the dream, I basically died, and right when I died, I woke up, and I remember standing up and being like,
oh shit,
why am I in my room? And I was like, wait, am I dead? And I literally, like, for like the next 5 minutes was like walking around, like double checking. I'm like, am I actually, did I just die? Like I fully accepted my death in that dream, I remember. And that's like I have like a really weird relationship with death, and we'll bring you back on, because there's a bunch of things I still want to talk about we never got to. So definitely would have you back on. Here's the final question. Fuck, marry, kill, but NFT edition. Here we go. Okay. First, tell me your favorite NFT project, if you have one.
My favorite NFT.
You don't have to own it. It's just like a project that's like a blue chips level, if you have one, just so I can include it.
Joyage Kingdom.
All right, Joyage Kingdom. Beautiful. All right, so we got the Joyage Kingdom. We have Doodles, maybe. Yeah, Doodles, and then we have, I don't want to say Boy Yacht Club. What's another one? Be Friends. Fuck, marry, kill. But instead of fuck, marry, kill, it's FUD, Flip, or HODL.
Okay. HODL Joyage, obviously.
Obviously. HODL Joyage Kingdom.
Flip Doodles.
Flip Doodles, okay. So now you got some money. Good shit.
And FUD V Friends.
Oh, you got a FUD V Friends. Damn.
And the reason this is really difficult, because I'm really bullish on the music stuff that Doodles are doing.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Like with
music
Pharrell
stuff. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. You a fan of Pharrell?
Yeah. Pharrell's arguably one of the most legendary producers of the last 30 years. So
shit. That's the alpha, fam. That's the music alpha. Cameron is bullish on Doodles and their music because of Pharrell. I love that. I didn't even think about that aspect from Doodles. But dude, this is a great conversation. I'm 100,000% bring you back on, because I don't know. When you have podcasts with people that you really like and you guys vibe with, it's always a great conversation. And we talked about a bunch of stuff that was totally off what I had written down of like possible topics and stuff. And I had a great time talking to you.
Happy to be here, man. Always an absolute pleasure. I'm absolutely stoked to be invited back, if you will allow me. Look, I don't have anything to say. Follow
Code word.
Cameron the NFT.
Follow him. I have his stuff down below. Yep, I have his stuff down below. Code word. Crypto Dream says, yes, I do have a code word. Code word is Aussie, because we didn't even talk about this, but Aussies have been blowing up. I don't know what's going on, but the Aussie NFT community is here. They have made themselves known. I don't know what's going to happen from this. I hope you guys have some crazy meetup or something in real life. I think that'd be cool.
We have like, because I'm actually super tight with kind of the guy who pulled the strings on that. And I was talking to him yesterday. You know, some plans are in the works. And you know, I'm really passionate about the Australian community. I want to help propagate that and support that. So some exciting things are coming, and
Hell
I'm
yeah,
pumped
man.
for it.
Hell yeah, I'm really excited for that too. I'd love to see. I don't know. It's cool to see communities come together. I'm a big fan of just communities in general coming together, and that's why I like NFT as well. I like covering the space. I just believe in the online communities, and to see a real life community come together would be really really cool. I hope if you go, you should document it and make a TikTok or a YouTube video or something like that and document it, because those are like the best. I look at my NFT NYC video, the vlog. I look at the NFT Seattle video, and like I'm so grateful that I did that. Even though I probably didn't,
Yeah.
I didn't really want to film when I was there. It's just like a lot of work to film, but when I came back and I had that video put together, it was fucking awesome. So guys, if you made it to the very end, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you click that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom. I have his link tree down below the description if you want to go check out his stuff. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, TikTok, all the things. Until next time, continue on your Joyage, continue to learn, and be grateful you're live watching this video.